Hello and welcome into another episode of the Sunbelt Syndicate, the 3B edition, Belt Baseball Boys. I am one of two hosts, Dominic Crusetto. With me, as always, is Marv Dickens. We are without member number 3 tonight, right, Marv?
Yeah, Steph's taking care of a baby.
There we go. With you from the first kick to the last pitch, this is the baseball show. So welcome in, and hopefully, we had a pretty good weekend overall, Marv. Let's put this graphic up, actually, because I wanted to share kind of what we're seeing with how this season has gone thus far, I guess, what I'm thinking of here. And bad weekdays, but good weekends, right?
and part of that's, you're playing some really good competition on the weekday games, a lot of in-state Power 5 or P4 conferences. But two really good weekends back-to-back for the Sunbelt.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I get too far, let's go back into the other layout. We won a gold medal, folks. The hockey team, I know it's not baseball, but USA Hockey, I'm a huge hockey guy. We've talked about it. We asked some guys before the season went live on, the Olympic aspect of what sport they would play. We had a lot of hockey answers, Marv. I think maybe unsurprisingly, right?
Yeah, I mean, hockey's a man sport, right? So, so U.S. I mean, that was an early game yesterday, right?
Yep.
A lot of people woke up and didn't even realize that the game was going on or that it was over. But Canada officially becomes the 51st state of the United States, and we will allow them to continue to play our game.
Yeah. Well, maybe the 51st state, but we don't accept losers, Marv. So it may be hard to bring them in at this point.
A lot of land. We'll take it.
Yeah. So I am proudly supporting the 1980. It's a replica jersey sweatshirt, so it's not actually a jersey, but it does look like the original 80 thing. It's got the miracle on the back.
Nice.
So it's got that. But I am still baseball, Marv. So the baseball is the hat, which is USA Baseball, which Marv knows is right down the street from both of us in Cary, North Carolina, headquartered in North Carolina itself. And your kids have played in that stadium, right?
No, so funny thing is there's a complex literally right behind it where we play a lot of our travel ball tournaments. So the first time 4 years ago, the directions take us to USA Baseball, and we pull up to the stadium, and my kids get out, and we're rolling our bags up there. We're like, man, this is nice. We get to play baseball here. And someone was like, what are you doing here? We're like, we're here for the tournament. They're like, that's about a quarter mile down the road there, big guy.
You're like, no, we're going to stay here.
Yeah, I want to play here.
Join us.
I've been there and watched some 14U, 15U baseball, and it's a phenomenal complex. It really is.
Yeah. I've actually never been inside of it, but I've been on the portion of 540 that you can see right into it. And I've been in the other part of the complex that you're referring to play men's league softball. My work did have a team there for some time, but even those fields, pretty decent, pretty good. So
the main complex is like AA minor league baseball stadium quality. It's very nice.
Yeah, it looks like it. But even those ones that you use for travel ball and rec league stuff are better than like some of the other ones I've seen and used around Raleigh and the Durham area. But BC Guy 81 jumping in and saying hi. What's up, man? Glad you're joining us tonight. We'll talk some baseball. We'll get into that now. Let's see. What was the next thing? Oh, series picks. So let's bring these up back into the equation here, Marv, as we look over what we had on the weekend. As we know, again, recap. I feel like we have to recap every time because it seems like every week someone's still referencing our picks being not great or something along those lines. But Marv, you got to be perfect. This is a real man's game here, right?
Yeah, there's no easy way out. You have to pick the games, not just the series. South Alabama looks really good. College of Charleston, obviously, coming off a midweek win at Coastal. We know Coastal's bullpen is depleted at the moment, but Cajuns sweeping Maryland, good for them. And Gonzaga got one game from Texas State. I thought they were going to get the first game, but Texas State rallied there. But 2 out of 3 ain't bad. 1 out of 3 is kind of bad, but at at least we're not Seth there with the big old 0.
Yeah. Seth took it on the chin this week. It was funny because when I did the math, I'm like, man, he's actually like right with us in overall wins and losses, right? So I'm still going to keep track of that because I don't know, some people don't quite understand how we run it with the series. But it is also interesting to see how different you can be with Seth sitting at that 1-5 series record, but he's just one game behind us really in the overall record. With you and I sitting at 14-4 and Seth sitting at 13-5, we're both tied with the 3-3 series record, and Seth's at 1-5 overall with that. But again, I mean, it's funny if you look at it. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back to week 1, and there are some here in this week actually, but there's not too many where we've gotten the winner of the series actually wrong. We just haven't predicted the exact outcome again, which gets you the X instead of the check mark.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, Seth got the Raging Cajun series incorrect. He actually no, he didn't. Yeah, I don't know,
that was you. You took Maryland.
Me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. Bad pick. Really bad pick.
Yeah, well, I did go in thinking they could sweep Maryland, but we had just seen what had happened to them with Missouri State in week 1, and I'm like, oh, they're probably going to drop at least one. Like, it's just going to happen. Maryland's not a great baseball team, but they can be good. But yeah, I mean, Cajun swept, like you said, so that's awesome. Ben James joining us saying what's up and Wolves up. Going to be interesting for A-State as they go to the Hill to play number 6 Arkansas tomorrow and Wednesday. So
yeah, we're gonna find out exactly how good Arkansas State is. I think we've had them a little undervalued in our power rankings. They win 2 out of 3 this weekend, but 2 games at Arkansas is going to tell you exactly where you stand.
Yes, it very much is. And speaking of those power rankings, that was a perfect transition, Marv. I'm glad we practiced this before we went live.
Rehearsal as well.
Yeah, I know some people question some of our thought processes, but I have to give us credit as a group, right? Now, this is not individually everything that we all agree with. And I do think that the number 3 spot with Marshall is vastly wrong at this point in time now. Yeah. But Southern Miss had jumped Coastal to get to our number 1 spot. And people said, well, how do you drop Coastal after, not really, having some injuries and not dropping too many games and everything? It wasn't so much that we dropped Coastal, but Southern Miss had gained some points for some of their victories and how they had done it. We quite honestly thought Southern Miss had the better matchup in week 1, right, Marv?
They did. Yeah, I mean, UC Santa Barbara, I think is who they played. I mean, that was that's a top 25 team at the end of the year. Their pitching staff, their number 1 guy, I can't remember his name now, but he's a top 10 pick. And then obviously after this weekend, they had the best win of the weekend, taking down number 11 Oregon State. But they look right now like the most complete team. I mean, once again, Coastal has the best pitching staff, in my opinion, in the league, but they're depleted at that spot right now. And then they drop a midweek game, and then they get that Illinois loss was not a pretty loss. That was a bad one.
Yeah, no, you are absolutely correct, because that one was one that I think everyone thought that they could and should win, and they weren't able to do that one there. BC guy 81, Southern Miss looking forward to Bama. I bet they are. After this weekend, ain't nothing going to scare them.
And it's at the Pete too, so that's a big plus for them. That's I think they moved up to like 16th in the ranking this week, maybe.
12th.
12th. Wow. Yeah. Oh, it depends on which one. D1 baseball, perfect game. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of them out there, but that is a big game. I mean, all the coaches will say no one game is bigger than the other, right? The next game is the biggest game, but for RPI purposes, trying to host a regional, that's a big early season game for them.
Yeah, it undoubtedly is. And one, again, like you said, very much looking forward to, because I think that's a statement game for sure. Yeah, BC guy. I think, and I hope most people go by the D1/NCAA rankings. Again, that's why we leaned on that one, because the NCAA official website uses theirs. They don't use Perfect Game. They don't use Baseball Americas. They don't use 11.7 or whoever else has got their own rankings. Those are fun, and it is fun, especially when maybe the other one's not showing you love, that you may be better or higher in another one. But, this is the one that we've kind of chosen with to go with before, and I think we're just going to kind of stick with that one. Ben thinking that A-State will put up a fight against Arkansas. Yeah, we can talk about some of these games coming up here towards the end. I definitely want to keep going with some of these power rankings, though, as we said, the top two, I think undoubtedly still the top two. I don't really think anybody's quite jumping either of those two, for a spot yet. Maybe getting close if Coastal continues to drop some games here, but I don't know. Is anybody like right at that 3 spot, like knocking on the door?
I don't. So we also got to keep in mind that these power rankings are right now. This is not where we think they finish the end of the season. Man, get rid of the weekend, and if Coastal drops another game or two, I mean, Arkansas State, they go and take 1 or 2 from Arkansas and then sweep their series. You might have to move them up. Not saying they're going to go to number 2. Obviously, Marshall's going to fall, but there are some teams playing really good baseball. Louisiana had a great bounce back weekend. Georgia State's playing good ball. App State's 6-1. Once again, not saying they're 1, 2, or 3 in the league, but right now there are teams playing a little bit better baseball than Coastal.
Yeah. And again, you mentioned it, Marv. I just want to hit on it again for people that aren't paying close attention to Coastal themselves, right? And Coastal fans are, and obviously a lot of the national media might be, but some of our fans of other teams may not be. They have a lot of injuries on the pitching staff, and we know Coastal's game is pitching. I mean, that's their strong point, right? They've got the bats, but as Dominic Listy told us the other week, they're just a gritty team as far as the offense goes. They don't necessarily light up the scoreboard, but they've got that great defensive aspect with the pitching staff. So if they aren't full strength at the pitching on the mound, it may be showing a little bit, but they're also supposed to get a couple of those guys back. We knew one is lost for the season, and that's unfortunate, but I do believe Fluky's only gone once. We actually talked about that earlier today. They do think he's coming back for this weekend series, so that should be good for them. Dominic Ambrose saying, "What's up, fellas?" Destiny chiming in saying, "Eagles." Big Eagles fan, as we know from football season. She liked to give TJ a little hard time because his prediction on the football aspect was not so great. So let's continue on in the power rankings. A little bit more on this one. I think, again, some stuff made us look really smart going into this week. Southern Miss being number 1 looks really good after this weekend because, again, this was done before Friday's game started. Georgia Southern being number 14
looks really good, unfortunately.
Yeah, for them, very unfortunate. But for us, looks great. Like that's the bottom team as of right now, haven't won a game yet. And again, you could probably mix up a lot of the teams in the middle. App State's got that 6-1 record, as you said. But again, you do have to look at some of the opponents they've had. Duke's been the best opponent they have had thus far. And if I'm not mistaken, Duke is not ranked this year, right?
They are not. They're still a really good team. We were texting about it. We're talking, mid-major teams, which this isn't a mid-major conference in baseball, but App's got ETSU tomorrow. ETSU is also 6-1, traditionally a very good baseball team. I think you'll find out a lot about App tomorrow. I know it's not going to be your weekend rotation guys going, but you'll find out a little bit about, are they legit or have they just kind of played softer competition?
Yeah, I do agree. And to note, Marv and I were at that Duke game last year, so that was not a fun game to be at for App fans. But this year was vastly different. I mean, they took the lead quick and early in the first inning. Home run by Nico Sol. I'm going to mention that because I unfortunately heard that outside the stadium as I was trying to get a ticket. But as I walked in, they still put some more runs up. Not as quite impressive offensively. It was more Duke's pitching letting them down. But they were still taking advantage of the situation and had the lead for the first several innings before Duke actually had one good inning of their own. And then they just quite couldn't keep pace with the offense aspect. But the pitching is much improved from last year. It seems like the JUCO arms really have come in and done wonders for the App State team. Anybody else you want to mention on the power rankings? Again, a lot of them could be kind of thrown around a little bit towards the middle, but
listen, Georgia State's going to come up big time for number 10. Yep. They're definitely going to make it to the left side of the screen, at least on my power rankings. Once again, Louisiana had a great bounce back weekend. They'll move up a little bit. But I was just counting 9 teams in the Sunbelt currently winning records. We got, 6 at 5-2, a team at 6-2, and 2 at 6-1. So once again, a lot of baseball to be played. It's still really early. A lot of teams kind of trying to figure out their identity, or maybe shifting what they thought their identity was going to be, like Coastal, having to lean a little bit away from that dominant pitching staff. But Overall, great start. Love to get some of these bigger midweek games won, and they're going to have a lot of teams have a chance. I mean, Georgia State's got Georgia Tech tomorrow. So another big named opponent on the schedule that they'll have a great chance to knock off and make some noise and raise that RPI a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. That's going to be a good one to keep an eye on. Let's see what we've got next here. So we got a little snapshot of the weekend, the Syndicate Snapshot, as I'm calling it. This is a very fancy name, I know. Everyone's really, really happy to see it. But we did get some sweeps this weekend, so I want to mention this before we get into a little bit more specifics. And I do want to mention that the series sweeps, as they are traditionally known, belong to James Madison, Louisiana, Georgia State, and ODU. As we've kind of talked about, Southern Miss, not really in a traditional series setup, but they did sweep the weekend. They won all three matchups, as did App State. Again, they had two opponents of the same game, and then one different opponent. So not your traditional three-game set, but both teams did win 3 games in the weekend. Now, the teams that are down, they didn't necessarily lose the series, although two of them did lose series, I guess I should say, but only one of them was swept. That would be Georgia Southern, as we kind of talked about, alluded to. ULM lost 2 of 3, but they, again, were not in that traditional series. And then Marshall, once again, not in a traditional series, but they did lose all 3 games. 2 to the Citadel, 1 to Navy.
Day too, which was of the 4th game of their tournament. Just not a great weekend for Marshall.
No. Did you get to put eyes on that one at all?
I didn't get to watch. I don't think I got to watch any of it. I was obviously keeping track of the scores, but just a tough weekend. Yeah, they're on the 5-game lose streak right now. Those 2 games to Citadel, 1 to Navy, and then lost to Winthrop today.
Yeah, they'll be on the other side of the power rankings for sure. I can't see any reason to keep them in the top 7. But I did get to lay eyes on that one and in ears for sure, because I was working while I was listening to most of it, but I did get to watch some of the plays. They were up early, and then I think they got it to, it wasn't a large lead. I think it was 1 or 2-0. And then it got to like 5-1, if I'm not mistaken. And I thought, okay, good. Marshall's got control. And this is in Winthrop. This is South Carolina. Actually, was it at Winthrop or was it Rock Hill or?
I think it was at Winthrop, yeah.
Okay. So still unseasonably cold at Winthrop. And if you watched it, everyone was bundled up far greater than I was. I thought that would favor Marshall, and early on it looked like it was going to, but Winthrop kind of started to chip away. They get all the way back to tying the game. Then they take the lead over Marshall 6-5, and you're thinking, all right, well, Marshall can shut the door and get some runs up, and I think they did take the lead back one more time to 7-6, if I'm not mistaken. And then Winthrop blew it open completely. Marshall struggled on the mound. I think at least 2, maybe 3 pitchers hit by pitch on the first pitch of the at-bat. So that's not going to go well for you. Once that game started to get away, it just felt like it was rolling downhill, and it was just totally out of their control. So unfortunate ending for Marshall today. But yeah, just wash your hands of that one, like you said, Marv. This is a weekend you want to forget and just move on to the next series or next weekday game. I'm not sure.
They have Butler this weekend. They don't do a weekday game since they played on Monday.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Was that originally scheduled for Monday? I feel like it wasn't originally, was it?
I think it was.
Was it? Okay. Might have just missed that. We had not shown here, but some walk-off wins. Louisiana had 2 of them. App State had 1 on Sunday afternoon. And we had some bounce-back series wins. Arkansas State, Texas State, and Troy coming back to get those victories, either after losing the first game or dropping that second one and then making that Sunday one unsure. But we did get some teams to clinch those in some good fashion. And, BC Guy 81 was not sure about Southern Miss's pitching, but they are great again. Yeah, they looked the part, right?
Yeah, I mean, on paper, I think preseason you thought that behind Coastal they probably had the best pitching staff in the conference. You kind of questioned, are their bats going to be enough? But they're not lighting the scoreboard up. But I mean, that tournament they played in this weekend, they played some really good teams, and their pitching got to through it. They had some timely hits, and best team in the conference at the moment.
Yeah. Go ahead and talk about the now. Okay, when you're seeing this on the screen, if you're watching, they are being shown as number 20 because coming into the weekend, that was their ranking. They are now sitting at number 12. But talk about the number 12 ranked team weekend overall here, Marv.
Started off with Purdue, 5-4 win. They actually got a walk-off in that. Purdue tied the game going into the ninth, and then they walked it off. I think the most impressive win of the weekend was the 9-4 win over Oregon State, who was ranked number 11. Big seventh inning there, and just great bullpen. The guy of the bullpen, Sunstorm, 4 innings pitched, 8 Ks. I mean, he's fanning 2 guys an inning against the number 11 team in the country. And then a 5-1 win, just dominant pitching over Baylor, which is funny because they talked about hitting batters and walks. They gave 12 free passes in that game and only allowed 1 run. Their defense was good enough and pitching good enough that they gave them 12 free passes and made Baylor strand 13 batters. So, wow. Man, just pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like you said, they might have put a bunch of guys on base, but they also had those 12 Ks against Baylor. Like you said, that pitching is showing up and doing what it needs to against some really good opponents. And this is just Friday's scores that we're seeing here now. As far as Coastal Carolina is concerned, they opened the weekend Friday night with a thriller, using a late home run to secure the opener before splitting Saturday's doubleheader with VCU. I don't think they had a doubleheader. That's not right. They split the
VCU. No, they beat VCU both times. They lost to Illinois on Sunday. Right. They had a doubleheader. I think it got rained out on Saturday. They got beat pretty good in the morning by Illinois. I think it was like 14-5. But yeah.
Yep, 14-5. You nailed it. Yep, I got twisted up there in my wording there. But yeah, they had a pretty good performance from Mazans. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Hopefully it's pretty close there. But 2 home run performance in the Sunday game. So that's pretty good there for Coastal, and their offense continued to produce pretty big in those games against VCU. Not so much in the game against Illinois, but
Hey, can you go back to Saturday scores really quick?
Yeah, let's see it.
Georgia Southern, 29 runs given up. That's after they gave up, 24-25 to Georgia Tech in the midweek. That's
yep.
That's a lot of runs. And how about JMU scoring 25 runs or 27 runs in a doubleheader against Lemoyne? Good to see them get the bats going after what had to be a frustrating series against Florida State.
Yeah, absolutely. And they actually set a school record with the largest comeback win in 17 years. So I don't know exactly what
I think that was a Friday game. They got down early and scored 10 consecutive runs.
Yeah, and they ended up winning that game 13-11.
Yeah. They were down 11-3.
All right, so let's take a break from wrapping up specific series for just a second. So let's start with Friday. Like, what is your biggest standout game here? It could be loss, could be win. Just which one, as you're looking at this, sticks out to you the most?
I've
got mine picked out if you want. Okay.
I got 2 that jump off the page. South Alabama beating College of Charleston like that after College of Charleston just came off that Coastal win on a Tuesday night. And then I was texting you and Seth late at night. Texas State was down big. I think they got 4 or 5 runs in the 8th inning to kind of pull away from Gonzaga in a game that Gonzaga kind of controlled, to be honest with you, up until that point. But, South Alabama putting up 16 on College of Charleston was impressive.
Yeah, that's the one I'm going with for sure, 16-2. If they'd won 8-2, it probably wouldn't stand out to me. The double-digit victory over, like you said, a team that had just beat the best-ranked team in your conference earlier in the week, that's impressive. That's really, really impressive to me, and shows me that South Alabama may be back and for real as soon as this early part of the season. So that's a really good thing for them, fun for us to see. And like you mentioned, Texas State having a JMU-like comeback to get that win against Gonzaga, which is good for us because had Zaga won that game, that they would have won the series 2-1 now, as we now know.
Listen, we all picked them to sweep. I'm laying in bed Friday night watching that game, and I'm like, man, I'm going to get this series wrong on the first game. But now resilient. They played really well down the stretch. I mean, as a coach, you probably want to see it a little bit more consistent, but you'll take the runs when you can get them.
Right. Yeah. No, I do agree. I'm a little surprised you didn't go with the Maryland, Louisiana 6-7 game. As soon as I saw that score and worked on this graphic and then put it out, somebody shared one of those 6-7 memes, and I said, I knew it was going to happen. So, yeah, have a little fun with it. But luckily, the Cajuns were on top in that one, so it is laughable because of that. I don't know if it would have been quite as funny if we came up on the losing end of it. I mean, I guess some others in the conference, Southern Miss fans probably would have had fun with it because those two teams really just don't care for each other much. So then we get to Saturday, and I think I know already which one's going to stick out to you here, but I'll go ahead and ask you if you've got one that's standing out more than the others.
I'll go with two again. Southern Miss taking down the number 11 ranked team in the country. That's obviously going to stand out. Biggest win by anybody in the conference so far this season. And then, Georgia Southern allowing 29 runs. That's just that's hard to do. I mean, that's very hard to do.
Yes. And the bad part is, that's at home too, right? This is the rebound. This is a team that I will say this. I think I looked and USF is 6-1 on the year. So this is not a bad baseball team. Georgia Southern has maybe one of, because I think Southern Miss and maybe even Coastal have an argument for a harder schedule. But Georgia Southern has not had an easy one. They played a West Virginia team that probably should have been ranked as far as week 1, right? They were ranked immediately thereafter. Yep. So that's a tough one. Who did they play in between? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Georgia Southern?
Yeah.
They had Georgia Tech.
Yeah, you're right. Yes. So Georgia Tech, again, I think Georgia Tech was ranked when they played already, right?
Yeah, Georgia Tech's number 5 team in the country. It's a solid baseball team.
Yeah. So, there's no way you're likely to win that one. Just have to be realistic here. USF is the one that you thought you could rebound on. But, again, 6-1, good baseball team. Hard to see that. Destiny's chiming in saying, hey, I want to see the conference win as a whole. It helps the RPI. Which is exactly why we do this show, because we want everybody to be aware of how the whole conference is looking. Obviously, as fans, you're going to focus on your team specifically. This is to open it up to a broader picture so we can figure out what we're looking at as a whole. Help our argument when people say, well, you play in the sunbelt. Well, yeah, we do play in the sunbelt. It's a sense of pride, not a sense of, something lesser than.
It's not to be looked down upon.
Exactly. And Destiny's saying Troy also tough, scheduled, easy for me to say. Troy scheduled tough this year as well, and they absolutely did.
And the road does not get easier from Troy. I mean, we know that Campbell's been a very good baseball team for a while, but and they took 2 out of 3 from Campbell. But they go to East Carolina for a little tournament this weekend. Then I think they have NC State on a midweek too, potentially. They didn't make it easy for themselves.
No, and I think part of that is because of what happened to them last year, right? They probably think, if we have this schedule and we play last year's record, we're in, right? That's got to be a thought process. So, hey, we think we have just as good or a better team than last year. Let's schedule tougher so that if we do drop some, at least we're getting the RPI points. And we're getting, the respect. So far, half and half, Marv. I mean, I don't know. Maybe a little less than half and half as far as how that's gone for them.
I think it's a little bit too early to tell. I mean, they're 3-4, right? That's what their schedule is going to show. That's what their record is going to show now. But Mercer, good baseball team. Mississippi State, Campbell, good baseball team. They got Georgia, Western Carolina, ECU, Rutgers, Vanderbilt, series at Maryland. They don't. There's somebody else who has NC State. Their non-conference schedule is it's. We know that when you get into conference, you're going to have an opportunity to boost your RPI, but you never know how good everybody's going to be. So if you want it, you got to go get it early in the season. And they gave themselves a chance to really boost it. And who knows, man? They beat Georgia. If they play well against Georgia, who's I think number 8 right now, Then East Carolina's not going to be a walkover. Vanderbilt, and then Maryland. We just saw, the Cajuns took care of Maryland. They're giving themselves a chance. The record might not show exactly where they're at. I think the Mercer series surprised most, but I think we now know how good Mercer is. But see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think you're right. The Mercer one was the surprise, but again, that was in Georgia, Mercer's home stadium, and so that didn't play to Troy's advantage. But they were also a pretty good baseball team. Georgia number 11 as of this week. But yes, NC State currently ranked at 14. We've got, I think it's Coastal who plays NC State, North Carolina, and Wake Forest. To mention, Wake Forest sits at number 16 and UNC at number 8. So there's another team that's scheduled tough. And they always get those games with North Carolina teams for whatever reason. So interesting to see how that goes. And that West Virginia game, West Virginia now ranked 24th with a 5-1 overall record. So, yeah, we've had some really good teams playing games against our conference members right now. So it's been fun and interesting to see here. All right, so Sunday's scores. I'll go first this time, Marv. I think I'll go with Navy versus Marshall. I don't know much about Navy's baseball program. I don't think much of Navy's baseball program, maybe because I just don't ever hear of them. So I thought, okay, Marshall's going to rebound, right? Citadel is a Southern-based team, another academy team, but maybe they just got the jump on Marshall and surprised them. Navy won't, right? But then they lose 8-1, so that was their fourth loss in a row, as you mentioned. 5 now after the loss to Winthrop today. So a little shocking that the team that we collectively had at number 3 isn't going to be anywhere near number 3 going into this weekend's games. But yeah, that was a pretty big surprise for me there. What about you on Sunday's slate?
I think the other obvious one's got to be Coastal getting almost 10-run rule. They escaped the 10-run rule there for a while, but 14-5 to Illinois. I think it was 11-1 after the second inning or maybe the third. Illinois just jumped on them and they couldn't make it their way back.
Yeah, that was pretty tough to see. Also listed here, Arkansas State wins their series ultimately 2-1. They rebounded from that series opening loss to Eastern Illinois, and they won those last 2 games pretty convincingly, luckily. Engsofs? Coughs? I know I'm probably butchering that name. And what's crazy is, like, when you see his name, Engskov, like, I'm a hockey guy. That looks like a hockey name. I'm still butchering it. Also, he's not like Russian or Eastern European. He's from the States. So I was like, oh, we got this like crazy European guy coming over here. No, I think his hometown somewhere in Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken, when I saw. But he had a 2-run performance and helped the Red Wolves close out strong, 9-2 in that last game on Sunday. So the offensive firepower really helped propel them to victory in that one. I think, did we kind of talk enough about the Cajuns? We need to kind of go through how they got their victory over Maryland in that sweep there in Lafayette.
I mean, in the first game, they scored 4 in the ninth to walk it off. I mean, all those games were super competitive. Game 3 was 15 innings, just an absolute marathon of a baseball game. But, man, just clutch hitting in pressure situations. You don't win 2 super close late ball games like that without – you got to have a little ice in your veins when they came up. But they got a tough little midweek slate here with 2 home games against Kansas State. But really good win for the Cajuns. I always thought that they'd end up, 3rd or 4th in the conference, and they're looking like they could definitely make that happen right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Destiny saying the same freshman walked it off Friday and Saturday. I believe his name is Rodriguez. The freshman there that she's referencing, I believe. Anyone can fact check me on that. And they had a pretty good pitching performance from Herman, I believe his name was. So
yes, Rodriguez, I believe you are correct.
Okay. Yeah. Was that the same? We had Rodriguez on our show, right? Blaze.
I don't think he was a freshman though.
Blaze Rodriguez. Okay. No, that wasn't who we had then.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe another person. Was his last name? I'm trying to think now. Rigo. They called him Rigo, right?
Rigo, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, that's just an amazing performance there. What about your favorite team, Marv? What about these App State Mountaineers that are off to one of their best starts in recent history?
Yeah, I mean they also got a walk off against Southern Illinois, a game that we were up fairly big. I think we gave up 4 in the 8th, but yeah, just clutch hitting, pretty good pitching. Once again, super early. I don't know how good North Carolina A&T or Kinesis or Southern Illinois is going to be. Good to see them hang in really tough against Duke. I think we're going to learn a little bit more against East Tennessee State, and then they travel to Gardner-Webb for the weekend. But hey, I think their first in-conference series is against Coastal. So better have it buttoned up because I think Coastal's probably obviously going to be a heck of a lot more healthy when they come up the mountain.
Yeah, I think you're right. And just to note, Zamora, who we did have on our show,
Yep. Zamora got the game. Yeah, legged out a single to first with 2 outs. Man, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and then one of the coolest names. We need to. You know what I need to do? I need to put together an all-name team for Sunbelt baseball because we have some good ones. And Nolan Dorito is one of App State's pitchers. It is not spelled like the Chip, but it is pronounced just as the Chip. One of the coolest names in conference play so far. He had a 13 strikeout outing, and so really, really good game overall for him on this weekend. Again, that pitching from App State has come up tremendously. Talk about the Jags of South Alabama. Okay, in this Sunday game, we see that they lost 6-7, but
don't do it.
They had already won the 2 games before that to clinch the series. So what are we seeing from Nate Wood and the Jags?
Man, they're just playing consistent baseball. I think we talked to them. They said, what do we want to be known for? They said they want to be known as a tough baseball team. Win or lose, you walk off the field and like, dang, that team was good. And that's what they've been so far. I mean, once again, don't really know how good College of Charleston is, but you take a small sample size and know that they had beat, the number 6 ranked team in the country earlier that week. And the final game of the series, the one that they lost on a walk-off, right? They were in that game consistently, but Jags look to be playing some pretty good baseball. I mean, like I said, put up some runs in the Friday game, and you hate to see you lose on a walk-off when you could have got a sweep, right? But right. I think South Alabama's playing pretty good baseball right now. They got two midweeks this week, and then they got they're home against West Georgia. I don't know how good they are, but give them a couple more weeks, and then I think we'll really be able to judge and see where they are. But I like the way they're playing right now.
Yeah, and like we alluded to before the season started on their episode, I mean, for those that don't know and maybe haven't paid attention, and some of the newer members of this conference, including App State, Marshall, JMU, ODU, the ones that are further away from South Alabama, like South Alabama is really rich in history when it comes to baseball. They've been down a little bit here lately, but it will not surprise anybody down in that Mobile area if they become a baseball powerhouse once again. So we'll see if that comes to fruition for them. Georgia State crushes Bellarmine in almost all 3 of their games here. Sunday's game is 18-8 final in favor of the Panthers. Grantham's grand slam, multiple 4-hit performances from Carlson and Silas as well. It underscored an explosive weekend at the plate. The bus lot boys really brought it and made no question about it in this weekend's series against, I guess, is it the Bellarmine Knights? Is that what?
I don't know much about Bellarmine, if I'm just being honest, but tell you, they made Georgia State look really good. Georgia State's kind of been known for their explosive offense, but their pitching was super solid this weekend as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very good there. Let's jump back to Saturday because we have 2 teams we haven't quite talked about too much yet, but both did wrap up. Sorry, we actually kind of covered James Madison, I'd say, actually, right? Talked about their comeback victory, the fact that they crushed them in the other 2 games, swept the series. I don't know if there's any notes specifically you want to.
No, I mean, the biggest thing is definitely the 10 unanswered runs on Friday. They blew them out on Saturday. Won the Sunday 11-4. They got Virginia Tech this weekend, or excuse me, on the midweek, and then they're headed to another one of these tournament style things this weekend. But once again, they schedule tough. Florida State's not an easy opponent to open up against. Perennial top 25 team, but that's definitely a bounce back series for them, and see if they can carry that momentum over to Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I think the only other note I wanted to make is Lemoyne Dolphins. So great nickname. You don't often see in
The
NCAA, right?
Dolphins.
You got the Miami Dolphins. Now you got the Lemoyne Dolphins. So there you go. That's quite the matchup. I don't, but maybe like Coastal, like playing a team like that, it would make sense. Like, oh, we got a team that's nicknamed the Dolphins, but them traveling to Harrisonburg, Virginia, just seems kind of funny to me. With the nickname of the Dolphins, but ODU also gets the sweep. So we've had the two Virginia teams in this conference both getting. Well, I wouldn't say ODU really had as easy as a time with their opponent in Niagara as James Madison had, but they do get the series victory with that double header on Saturday. All
I wrote down was two really close games, just enough offense and some consistent pitching.
Yeah, I think I got Zach Light's 2-homer, 5 RBI performance in the opener was the kind of the big note there, and then again they got this 8-5 and then 5-4 victory, so they had a little bit closer games there, but good to see both the Virginia teams getting those victories against, again, as Destiny said too, like those are RPI, like you can't drop those really.
Yeah.
If you want to look at it an honest way with what we're saying about not being one of those smaller conferences, these are the ones you win. If you win a close one, that's fine, but win them, sweep them, put them away just like you should, and that's exactly what they did. ULM did not have a great weekend, as we talked about being one of those teams that needs to kind of have a little bit of a bounce back. They lost their first 2 games. They did rebound and get that victory Sunday against New Orleans team, who has had some upsets over some Sunbelt teams in midweeks in years past. So they did win that one 9-1. With the lack of winning on Saturday and Friday, there's not a ton of stuff to talk about offensively for them, but they did wake up the bats in this 9-1 victory on Sunday afternoon, right, Marv?
Yeah, they lost to Northern Kentucky and Alabama A&M. Those are teams that, as a Sun Belt member, you're expected to beat. You need to beat them because, once again, when you get into conferences, nothing's going to be easy. So you got to take those wins. The only thing I really wrote down was just really inconsistent baseball. Doesn't seem like they've strung together really good innings or games, to be completely honest. They got 2 midweeks, then they host Western Illinois. Hopefully they can get it on the right track, but I think losing a coach, and I think they had a lot of attrition on the roster. A little bit of a rebuilding year maybe for ULM, but they're not playing. Yeah, they're not playing great baseball right now.
Yeah, not the greatest. The only one I just want to get a BC 81 may not have made the highlight really saying, but Oregon State went through 7 or 8 pitchers. Southern Miss used just 2. So again, that's showing you like where this team is at. That may be almost more meaningful than just looking at the scoreboard there and something like that. Like that's the difference in pitching here. Like that's where it can put you. That's what it can do for you. It's not just like, 1 or 2 guys are enough. No, you need to have a depth lineup at the pitching position to really take advantage and get into those ranked.
The other thing you got to think about, right? They only used 2 pitchers. They had plenty of arms for the Baylor game, and they'll have plenty of arms for Tuesday.
Yep. Yeah. And I think the only other one that we didn't specifically talk about was Georgia Southern, but I don't know how much we can say with the lack of scoring offense. I mean, that last one is a killer, right? They had the opportunity to win that last one at home. And then USF walks them off to win 4-3 and keep them winless on the season. That's got to crush, right?
Yeah, especially after giving up 29 runs in the second game there. Yeah, you'd love to bounce back and get a win and kind of take it like, okay, we took it on the chin. We bounced back. We're resilient. Use that momentum going forward. They got, I think, Kennesaw State on the midweek, and then USC Upstate, who's sneaky good this weekend. But really hope for the Eagles that they get that 0 off the board and get their first win this week.
Yeah, that would be nice. I know as App State guys and App State people are probably like, who cares? But again, as Destiny said, we want everybody to win because this conference may need those things to come into play. You get a Troy situation again like last year. Now we got a difference maker because, more of our teams won outside of conference play. I think I'm trying to pull it off the top of my head because I don't have it right in front of me. I think we had a 29-3 12 overall record on the weekend. So like
You're right, yeah.
That's pretty good. We won 8 of 9 traditional series. As I said, App State and Southern Miss both winning and sweeping the weekend, but not against one opponent. So I didn't call it a series win in the traditional sense. But we had some really good showings. Now we need the midweeks to improve. And I know, Marv, we've heard over the years, midweeks don't matter. They do matter.
They matter. They matter. Let me ask you this question.
There you go.
What are your thoughts on these tournament style weekends early in the season?
I like them. I like them because I think it both rewards RPI, because as we've heard from some of the coaches, like neutral sites almost reward you better than playing an away game in certain regards, which I don't even know how that makes sense. I would think that it should be more meaningful if you go win on the road. But whatever. I mean, maybe it's just circumstantial in some of those instances.
I mean, technically, Southern Miss was on the road. They did not play at their home stadium this weekend in that tournament and got to play, 3 big name teams per se, a ranked team, and win. So, it's just not traditional baseball in the sense of you play a series, right? You're going to see a guy's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday guy. You're going to get your pitchers get to look at their batting lineup for 3 straight days. But I do like having the exposure to different teams. You're able to kind of pick your matchups, your pitching matchups a little better based off the lineup that you're going to see that day, and not necessarily have to worry about this is my Friday guy, this is my Saturday guy, this is my Sunday guy, which you probably do still pitch them in order. But if your Saturday guy is better set up for your Sunday opponent, you get to save them.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And Destiny chiming in here, USM is supposed to play in more of these tournaments in coming years, which I'm excited for. I think this also shows the progress of the Sunbelt. This is another one of those things that we can point to for our argument that, like, look, a lot of the times mid-major teams aren't being picked for these tournaments. Sometimes they are, okay. And there's tournaments where, like, it's all mid-major teams, and some of our teams are getting to some of those. But, like, Southern Miss being in this, they were one of the headlining teams, right? Like, this is one of the ranked teams. This is one of the teams that everybody wants to play because they want to prove themselves against them. And Coastal's been in those situations as well. So hopefully we can get a couple more teams to even get into that kind of mind frame or, center point of their baseball universe, and when it comes to saying, hey, we got to have these guys.
Let me ask you this. What do you think about a series like App did where you play an away game, a neutral game, and a home game against different opponents in the same weekend?
Yeah, well, it actually ended up not doing exactly
as it was
set up. You're right.
That because I know that they were not scheduled to play A&T twice.
No, they weren't. It was 3 different teams, wasn't it? Or
yeah, it was. And I think the weather switched. That's why they had to play. I think Sunday was supposed to be in Boone. I think it was supposed to be like play at A&T, play in Hickory, and then come back, almost like a work your way back home kind of deal.
Yeah. So that was interesting. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you get points for it, I think it's a genius play by the coaching staff and the scheduling aspect to do something like that. But yeah, I mean, I think as fans, you're kind of wondering, like, why are we doing this? It does look, but that was great.
Because it's cold in Boone this time of year.
Yeah, and if you haven't been paying attention, Boone is under like snow and ice. Like I don't know. I haven't specifically talked to Seth to see exactly what the snowfall is where he's at, but people are sliding off roads up there.
Yeah, I think they got 6 inches on Saturday.
Yeah, that's rough. That's one reason why they have an artificial turf field, so they don't have to
be a fun ride to Johnson City tomorrow.
No, yeah, you're right. It'll be interesting to see if maybe they postpone that one or something. I mean, I think by then they should probably be able to get out, but
you would think.
We'll see. I mean, it looked worse than usual, and I think part of it is like once they were compacting that snow, it was freezing, and then people thought, oh, it's just snow. No, you've packed it down enough now that you've got a layer of ice underneath the snow, and that's where the problems were arising. And I don't care who you are, you can't drive on ice. You can drive on snow. You can't really drive on ice, at least not, ice road truckers. Okay, yeah, you they've got some experience. We ain't dealing with those types of people on the mountain of Boone. So, yeah, we'll have to see. As you mentioned, Virginia Tech, James Madison, Campbell in Coastal Carolina on Tuesday. Arkansas State, Georgia Tech.
Georgia State, Georgia Tech, yes. Southern Miss, Alabama. ULL's got Kansas State. Let's see.
Oh, here's one. UTSA is coming up here a little bit, and they're playing Texas State. Those two teams, those two schools hate each other, and now they're both playing pretty well in baseball. That one's going to have some heat to it.
Yeah, and then James Madison, Virginia Tech. That'll be another big. So, yeah, once again, lots of opportunities to boost the RPI and the conference status on the midweek.
The only thing I hate about this is that I can't watch all these games. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. It's just crazy, man. Because I have so many that I have interest on, and again, this is where we're hoping as baseball fans, like somebody step up and give us that ESPN. Oh gosh, I'm going. It wasn't called wraparound, but it's do you remember what they called that when they did ESPN Plus and they jumped around from game to game to game?
Yeah, you're talking about like a red zone style production for college baseball.
Which they did. They've done it. But they only do it like twice a year or something like that. It's like a specialty thing. But when they do it, people love it. And they should do it that way because let's be honest. We'll reference, unfortunately for Eagle fans, Georgia Southern score, right? 25-4, 29-4.
Yeah.
That's not a game you're going to stick on, right? And if that's the only game you're going to watch, like now you can jump around and that, oh, well, this game is exciting. This game is close. This game does have a no-hitter going. This is, some guys trying to hit for the psych. All these different things could exist at one point in time. And we got this conference that's got 14 teams in it. It would be great to do something like that. I wish we could put together, but we'd have to have, a couple $1 million for that. And that's not what we have to play with.
So, if anyone's listening's got a wrench uncle, we'll take his money.
There you go. Yeah. Dom's asking me, why can't you watch all the games? Where's my dedication? It's not to get no sleep. I know we have don't sleep, but I have to get some actual sleep. And then BC Guy 81 saying ESPN does have the 4 on one screen. Yeah, you can do that. I'm not the biggest fan of that.
Yeah, I'd rather just manually click back and forth. I don't want to think about that. Just show me the good stuff.
Yes, exactly. Make it easy for me. Make it like Red Zone. Just tell me what's going on that I need to pay attention to in this game. Because if you're paying attention to one game, that means you're not paying attention to another. I know you can just quickly glance, but you are going to miss things, especially when you don't have the audio for all 4. So you can only listen and watch one at a time, essentially. It just makes it easy to jump around. But yeah, is there any weekend sets really big coming up? I'm trying to look and I don't see anything massive right off the bat here. James Madison College of Charleston, so they'll get their chance again to kind of prove that. Georgia Southern really doesn't get any easier. They've got USC Upstate who won their conference last year. So that's going to be
a tournament in Greenville. James Madison's at a tournament. ODU's got UNC Charlotte. Yeah, no, nothing jumping off the page unless I'm missing something. Yeah.
Well, Coastal. You said Coastal's at a tournament, right?
I believe they are. Let's see.
Yeah, and they're playing Texas in their very first game in Houston, so that'll be rough.
Yes, no, they have a very big tournament this weekend. They're playing some big name teams.
And when I say rough, I don't mean that they could or should lose. I'm just saying that's not going to be easy because
this is a bounce back weekend for them, right? Coming off of 2 losses last week, they can make it back up this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, here's one more. Ruston, Louisiana, playing host to Southern Miss. Now, again, this is a La Tech team that's knowingly coming into this conference, and a team that this is a history, a tradition that these two teams don't like each other at all. So, that will be a fun one for us as casuals that are turning into that one. And it'll be fun for Southern Miss if they win. Not so fun if they lose. So one more year of wishing nothing but the worst for La Tech so far until they come into this conference, and we need them to help us out. So, this was a fun one, man. I like how we wrapped this up. We don't have an interview for you this week, but we went almost an hour with you anyway. So, Marv, any last news or notes before we get out of here and say goodbye to the fine people?
Man, ready for conference so that we can narrow down and watch 7 series versus 14 series because it's tough.
It is really tough. And like you said, and the same thing happens for football, right? Like football has 14 games out of conference, and then you get into the stuff where it's reasonable. And then we have some midweeks to help us not have to watch 7 games on a weekend. Destiny says, hey, La Tech. Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of people joining you on that train once they get fully in here, because I've heard how they are as fans. It'll be fun because they'll fit right into that center point of the sunbelt hate that we love so much. We love to hate you. But yeah, I mean, it'll be fun to see what transpires when that ends up happening. But thanks for tuning in with us. Again, if you weren't able to watch it live and you're catching us at the very end here, we will have this up shortly on the audio version and streaming as soon as we're done, pretty much, on YouTube and Rumble. And we will see you guys. She's saying real quick, they're the worst of the worst. So it doesn't get any better. If you are a Southern Miss fan and you really want to hate somebody, you're about to get that team that you really wanted to hate.
We need to have a poll. Which Sunbelt team hates La Tech the most?
Ooh, I like that. I mean, I know which 2 or 3 it's going to be immediately.
I was about to say, yeah. I mean, obviously your Louisiana schools, and I think Southern Miss might not like them very much at all.
No. And to note, there's some teams that played them in Conference USA days. So, there may be some ODU fans who hate them or something, random, that were like, oh, wait, I didn't really remember that. Marshall and La Tech had some games. So it'd be really interesting to see. She says there's no doubt it'll be USM by far. But she says UL as well, for sure. The Cajuns definitely have hate there as well. It's one reason why we thought we'd never see the day they'd be in this conference. But, hey, they're around the corner, and we'll have some Bulldogs in here before we know it. But thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you guys again next week. Be on the lookout for weekly picks, and obviously we're sharing the scores with you as we always do. See you next time.
And if you think we suck at our picks, you can pick too.
Yeah, go ahead and throw them out there manually for now, and we'll start throwing in a guest picker once conference play gets up and rolling. See y'all later.
See you.